You've been trained to look outward, to blame the world, to see enemies in the faces of strangers, in the system, in the setbacks. But the most dangerous enemy you'll ever encounter isn't out there. It's been with you from the start. It watches you in silence. It whispers in your own voice. It wears your face. You are the battlefield. And self-sabotage is the war. You've told yourself 1,000 lies. I'll start tomorrow. I just need more time. I'm not ready yet. But deep down, you know, these aren't statements. They're weapons. Blades forged in fear, used against your own soul. You dream of rising, of building a life that commands respect, of breaking every chain and walking freely in power. But in the shadows, you are the one tightening the shackles, smiling as you drown, numbing the pain with distractions, choosing comfort over conquest, again and again and again. No, this isn't laziness. This isn't bad luck. This is war, and the enemy has made its home inside you. You wake up every day with two voices in your mind. One is the architect, calm, focused, driven. The other is the saboteur, soft, seductive, familiar. Guess which one you've been feeding? Guess which one you've let build your life? Let me ask you something brutal. Why do you betray yourself? Why do you get in your own way the moment things start to work? Why do you destroy the very thing you claim to want? It's because comfort is your poison, and familiarity is your drug. See, the mind doesn't care about your goals. It cares about patterns, survival. It craves what's known. And if pain is what you've known, then your subconscious will drag you back to it. No matter how much progress you've made, that's why you keep falling. That's why you get close to success, then torch it all. Because some part of you doesn't believe you deserve it. Or worse, doesn't want to find out what happens if you do. Because what happens when there are no more excuses? When you become undeniable? When you're forced to live up to everything you said you could be? You see, the fear of failure is nothing compared to the fear of transformation. Because transformation kills the version of you that you've clung to for so long. And for many, that death is too much to bear. But for us, for the warriors of this movement, that death is the price of freedom. You want out? Then burn the mask. Expose every lie you've told yourself. Rip apart every excuse. And make a vow to never again let the enemy inside win. Self-sabotage isn't just a bad habit. It's spiritual treason. It's the murder of your destiny. And every time you choose fear over discipline, every time you retreat back into comfort, you are choosing extinction over evolution. You think the world is against you? Good. Let it be. Let them doubt you. Let them ignore you. Let them laugh. Because the louder they get, the quieter you must become. Not in weakness, but in deadly, unshakable focus. You will not scream your way to greatness. You will out-discipline them. You will outlast them. You will outbleed them. You will stare the enemy within in the eyes and say, not today. Not anymore. No more quitting when it gets hard. No more self-pity when things don't go your way. No more calling it burnout when you haven't even started the fire. The life you want is already waiting. But it won't come to the version of you who keeps falling back asleep. It's waiting for the version of you that's willing to go to war with your own reflection. This isn't motivation. This is a mirror, and it's showing you what you've become. Software, distracted, addicted to comfort. But here's the truth. If you were weak, you wouldn't feel the guilt. If you were finished, you wouldn't feel the fire. You were born for more. And deep down, you know it. That's why you're still here. still listening, still searching, still ready to fight. So rise, not because it's easy, not because you feel like it, but because the enemy within fears the day you stop running and finally stand your ground. It ends here, and it begins now. You versus you. The final war. One will rise, one will fall. Choose. Lesson 1. Identify the saboteur. You cannot defeat what you refuse to see. You want to win, but you don't even know who you're fighting. You wake up every day thinking the world is holding you back, that life is unfair, that others got a head start. But the truth is, the sniper that's been taking you out at every turn is perched inside your own skull. It's not a stranger. It's you, at your weakest, at your most afraid, at your most dishonest. This is the saboteur. It doesn't scream, it whispers, it doesn't punch, it persuades. It's the quiet rationalization behind every delay, the false logic behind every distraction, the subtle voice that says, you deserve a break when you've barely earned a start. It's in the phone you scroll instead of the task you ignore. It's in the fake emergencies you create to avoid real commitment. It's in the overthinking you weaponize to kill your momentum. The saboteur is clever because it doesn't need to stop you. It just needs to slow you down long enough to convince you to stop yourself. You think sabotage looks like failure? No. It looks like hesitation, like perfectionism, like self-comfort, like almost doing it. That's why this lesson is non-negotiable. Before you can win the war, you must know exactly how this enemy moves. You must study your own destruction like a blueprint. You must become a forensic detective of your downfall. Implementation. Conduct a self-sabotage audit. This is not journaling for healing. This is reconnaissance. This is hunting your own patterns with ruthless clarity. Step 1. Spot the loop. Look back at the last 3 times you made progress, and then lost it. When did you quit? When did you pull back? When did you take a break that turned into self-abandonment? Step 2. Identify the trigger. Was it fear of judgment? Was it perfectionism? Was it the discomfort of doing something new? Write it down, not in soft language. Write it like a criminal confession. Call it what it is. Own it. Stare at it until the illusion of innocence disappears. Step 3. Watch the behavior. List your top 3 self-sabotage tactics. Be honest. Is it scrolling? Is it sleeping in? Is it jumping from idea to idea, never finishing anything? You must recognize these behaviors like an assassin recognizes their mark. They are not harmless habits. They are self-inflicted wounds, and you've been bleeding out for years without even realizing it. Final truth. If you don't hunt your saboteur, it will hunt you. It will ruin every relationship, corrupt every opportunity, silence every gift, and you'll spend your life haunted by the phantom of potential, always wondering why it never worked out, always blaming something else, when deep down, it was always you, but not anymore. This is where the lies stop. This is where awareness becomes ammunition, because when you can see the enemy clearly, you can finally raise your weapon without hesitation. You've identified the threat. Now it's time to destroy it. Lesson 2. Break the loyalty to your old self. The version of you that's dying is still trying to breathe. There's a version of you, the one that gave in, the one that caved to comfort, the one that sabotaged opportunity after opportunity and called it bad timing. That version is not just in the past. That version is fighting for its life right now. And the reason you keep falling back is because you keep trying to keep it alive. You're loyal to a ghost, a worn-out identity, a belief system forged in weakness, held together by excuses, and protected by your own fear of transformation. You think you're staying safe. You're not. You're staying small. Here's the truth you've been avoiding. Your old self has to die, not be managed, not be tolerated, not be fixed, destroyed. Because that version of you isn't just outdated, it's toxic. It was built in the darkness of survival, formed during the years when you didn't know better. But now you do. And if you continue to carry that dead weight, you'll keep walking in circles, dragging a corpse, and wondering why your future smells like decay. Your loyalty is killing your evolution. You're still trying to protect that version of you who gave up when it got hard. The one who cared more about being liked than being respected. The one who numbed the pain with pleasure instead of facing the truth. That version of you may have gotten you here, but it will not take you further, because the path ahead demands a version of you that does not flinch. Implementation. Sever the ties with brutal honesty. Step 1. Write the eulogy of your old self. Sit down. Write a letter addressed to the version of you that keeps showing up to sabotage everything. Tell them everything. What they cost you. What they taught you. Why they no longer have a place in the life you're building. Let it be a funeral on paper. Let it be violent. Let it be real. And when it's done, burn it. Literally. Because symbolic death sets the tone for internal resurrection. Step 2. Define the loyalty loop. Where are you still honoring the old self? Are you still going to the same places? Entertaining the same people? Repeating the same patterns dressed up in new goals? That's loyalty. That's what has to be broken. Every time you choose the familiar over the future, you betray the stronger version of yourself that's trying to emerge. Step 3. Choose the replacement identity. Nature doesn't tolerate a vacuum. If you kill the old self and don't replace it with something greater, you'll fall right back into the corpse. So define the new you with clarity. Not hopes, not vibes. Discipline, habits, non-negotiables. Write them down. Carve them in your mind like commandments. Live by them until they become more natural than the old ways ever were. Final truth. This isn't just about self-improvement. This is about spiritual assassination. About killing off the part of you that was built in fear. So the part of you forged in fire can finally rise. You will never outgrow the old you until you bury them completely. And that means no more visits, no more nostalgia, no more slipping into old ways just because the storm got loud. The old you is not your friend. It is the traitor, the liar, the voice that watches you fall and pretends to be the safety net. You don't need safety. You need rebirth. And rebirth only comes after the flames, after the ashes, after you finally decide that loyalty to your past is treason against your future. So draw the line, say goodbye, then walk away, and never look back. Lesson 3. Discipline is the executioner. You don't rise by motivation, you rise by ritual. The saboteur doesn't fear your ambition. It doesn't fear your dreams, your goals, or the big promises you scream into the void at midnight. It waits, because it knows those things don't last. It knows the motivation will wear off. It knows the hype will fade. And when it does, it returns, calm, smiling, ready to hand you your old habits, with a familiar voice that says, "It's okay. Just start again Monday." This is where most people fall. not because they didn't want it, but because they tried to win a war with emotion instead of execution. No, discipline is not glamorous. It's not exciting. It doesn't care how you feel. Discipline is the executioner. It shows up when you're exhausted. It swings the blade when your hands are shaking. It follows orders when your mind is begging for mercy. Discipline is what finishes what motivation starts. And it does so without applause. Let's be clear. Discipline is not a morning routine. It's not waking up early and drinking lemon water. It's not journaling with your favorite playlist in the background. That's aesthetic. That's comfort, dressed as commitment. Real discipline is war. It's a decision to suffer now, so you never have to beg for scraps later. It's doing what you said you would do, when you least feel like doing it, over and over again, until your life becomes a direct reflection of your standards. Implementation. Build your rituals. Kill the options. Step 1. Pick your anchor. Choose one ritual that represents the death of the old you. Not 10 things. 1. Something hard. Something non-negotiable. Wake up at 4:30 a.m. Cold shower every morning. 90 minutes of deep work before sunrise. Choose the anchor, the cornerstone. Let everything else bend. This one thing cannot break. Step 2. Attach identity to action. You don't do the act because it gets results. You do it because that's who you are now. The undisciplined self waits for energy, emotion, or convenience. The new you follows command. You are a soldier of your own transformation, and soldiers don't negotiate with weakness. Step 3. Build a system of triggers. Your environment must reflect your intent. Alarms labeled with mission statements. Clothes laid out. Journal ready. Fridge cleaned. Distractions deleted. Make failure inconvenient. Make discipline easy to access. Don't rely on memory or mood. Rely on systems. Step 4. Eliminate the backup plan. Stop saying, "I'll try." That's a back door. That's a leak in your armor. You don't try. You either do it, or you die a little inside. You must commit like there's a firing squad behind your comfort. Because in a way, there is. Every time you delay the process, you lose time. You lose confidence. You lose respect for yourself. Final truth. Discipline is not the journey. It's the executioner that clears the path. It cuts down laziness. It kills comfort. It slaughters the past. And it does so with precision and without emotion. You will not feel like doing it. Do it anyway. You will be tired. Do it anyway. You will be discouraged. Do it anyway. Because discipline doesn't care how you feel. It only cares who you become. You don't rise by feeling inspired. You rise by building routines that destroy every excuse your weaker self dares to speak. One ritual at a time. One brutal act of commitment after another. Until the only version of you that remains is forged in fire and carved in steel. This is how you kill the sabotur. Not with thoughts, but with a blade called discipline. Lesson 4. Create a painful consequence for quitting. Make failure so expensive. Your mind refuses to pay the price. You quit because it's too easy. Because when you stop showing up, the world doesn't punish you. Nobody comes knocking. There's no siren, no alarm, no blood on the floor. You quit, and life just moves on. You sit in the silence and convince yourself it didn't matter. That's the lie. That's how the saboteur wins. Not through force, but through the slow, silent rot of zero accountability. If quitting had a cost, you'd think twice. If every broken promise left a scar, you'd be covered in wounds by now. But because there's no immediate punishment, You return to the graveyard of your goals, time and time again, smiling, dead inside. This stops now. You need to make quitting painful, uncomfortable, unforgivable. You need to train your nervous system to recoil at the thought of giving up, not because it's the right thing to do, but because you've hardwired the consequences so deeply that failure no longer feels like an option. It feels like death. Let's be real. If every time you broke your word, you lost something you loved, you take your commitments more seriously. But because the pain is invisible, because the damage is internal, you brush it off, pretend it doesn't matter. You laugh it away. But deep down, you feel it. Every unfinished project, every skipped rep, every "I'll do it later." They pile up until the weight of your potential becomes the very thing that drowns you. Implementation. Build a consequence engine. Step 1. Define the non-negotiables. Choose the one thing you must do daily to evolve. Your morning ritual, your fitness discipline, your business action. One thing, non-negotiable. This is the battlefield. Step 2. Set the cost of quitting. Now make a pact, not with your higher self, but with your future. What happens if you break? Donate $100 to a cause you hate? Burn a piece of art that symbolizes your past? Take a cold shower at 3 a.m. with no warm towel? Good. Now raise the stakes. Make it unforgettable. Make your mind fear it. Because fear is not the enemy. It's the leash on your inner coward. Step 3. Use public shame as leverage. Tell someone. Announce it. Create accountability that burns. Go live and tell your audience what you're committing to. Post your goal and the punishment. Now there's blood in the water. Now there's a price. Now your word carries weight. Step 4. Track failure like a predator. Every day you skip your commitment, you pay the price. No skipping the consequence. No delaying it. You follow through on the pain, just like you should have followed through on the promise. This is how you train your subconscious. Quitting equals punishment. Discipline equals peace. Final truth. As long as quitting is easy, you will remain a slave to the weaker version of you. Comfort is a currency, and if you're not willing to pay the price in pain, you'll keep paying in regret. You don't rise by avoiding discomfort. You rise by choosing which pain you want. The pain of discipline, or the pain of watching everything you could have been burn into ash. So choose the consequence. Feel the fear. Let it sharpen your focus. Because when failure becomes expensive, discipline becomes cheap. And that's when the war begins to turn in your favor. Lesson 5. Build a ruthless vision of the future you. Become so clear on who you're becoming that the old you begins to choke. You're drifting. You wake up, move through your day, fall asleep, and repeat. Maybe you have goals. Maybe you have a list. But you don't have a vision. You don't have a crystal clear, skin-burning image of who you are becoming. And that's why the old you keeps pulling you back. Not because it's stronger, but because it's clearer. Here's a hard truth. Your current reality is a reflection of the strongest vision you hold. And for most people, that vision is built by fear, not purpose. By survival, not design. By what's familiar, not what's possible. You're not being held back by the world. You're being held back by your own vague identity. Because if your future self is blurry, your mind defaults to the past. But here's what they never told you. You can create a future so ruthless, so detailed, so obsessively vivid, that it becomes more real than the present. And when that happens, Your mind will stop identifying with who you've been and start becoming who you must be. Because the subconscious doesn't follow logic. It follows images. It follows emotion. It follows repetition. And most of all, it follows clarity. So if your internal image is built in fire and precision, everything in your reality begins to bend to match it. Implementation: architect the future self. Step 1. Burn the blueprint into your mind. Sit down, no distractions, and write, with violent clarity, who you are becoming. What time does this version of you wake up? What do they eat? How do they train? How do they dress, walk, speak, operate? What habits are non-negotiable? What beliefs have they murdered in cold blood? Be specific. Be obsessed. You're not journaling. You're designing a weapon, and that weapon is you. Step 2. Speak as that person now, not later, not when you feel like it. Now your language is a mirror. Every time you say, "I'm trying," or "I hope," you're killing your identity with indecision. The new you doesn't try. They decide. They do. They dominate. Speak it until your mind accepts it. Then act until your world reflects it. Step 3. Destroy anything that doesn't align. Now comes the purge. Look at your space, your phone, your habits, your relationships. Ask this: does this serve the future me? If the answer is no, it dies. Comfort dies. Weak company dies. Old hobbies die. Everything that doesn't serve your vision gets burned until there's nothing left but tools for ascension. Step 4. Rehearse the victory daily. Read your vision every morning. Visualize it until you can smell the sweat on your own skin, until the person in your mind feels more real than the person in the mirror. You're programming your reality through thought, repetition, and embodiment. And your future is not some distant dream. It's an identity waiting for enough momentum to materialize. Final truth: if you don't create your future self, the world will create it for you. And you'll wake up 10 years from now as a watered-down echo of who you could have been. You will not drift into greatness. You will not stumble into strength. You will not luck your way into purpose. You must design it, envision it, obsess over it, until your entire being is repulsed by anything less. Your new self is already built in the unseen, but it will not walk through the door until you become a vessel worthy of it. So, become that vessel. Burn the indecision, cut the weakness, and etch the vision of your future into your daily execution, until the line between who you were and who you are is severed forever. To the warriors who return here, again and again, we see you. You've bled, you've risen, and you've chosen to fight when the world said surrender. You are the backbone of this movement, and your discipline, your hunger, your refusal to die quietly, that's what keeps GrimFace alive. This isn't just a channel. It's a battlefield, a sanctuary for the outcasts, a forge for the few still willing to burn for greatness. To the new ones, if something inside you stirred, if your pulse changed pace and your thoughts got louder, it means you were meant to be here, not by accident, but by warpath. Subscribe, because this is not just content. It's a revolution of the mind, and the farther we go, the darker it gets. But in that darkness, we become sharp, focused, unbreakable. Welcome to the GrimFace movement. We don't run from the war. We become it.